Okay, one more library book before we get into our requests. Uh, you Are Never Alone. And this is by Elin Kelsey, and it reads like a poem, just kind of like the last one did that we read. This, You Are Home. And it's by Soyeon Kim. It's illustrated by Soyeon Kim, and her illustrations, let me just make sure, are just gorgeous. So let me just see what else she's grabbed. Oh, you know what? Did the two of them work on that? Yes, they did. They both worked on these books, You Are Stardust and Wild Ideas. And the best thing about those is that there are facts. It's like a science book that reads like poetry. So it's there's truth in them, but it's presented in a really poetic kind of way. And even then, you can actually see that there's going to be true science in this, and you are never alone. And you can see that the children that Soyeon Kim has illustrated are all kinds of different children, and they're perched on birds and on twigs and branches, so they're like fairy children. So let's read this. Every moment, this beautiful planet showers you with gifts. And it's just the same thing when we looked at You Are Stardust, which is another one of their books. They team together and they're very good. They're a very good team. You are never alone. And it's so true. You are never alone. And you're going to find out how many different ways they're going to tell you that you are never alone. Every moment, this beautiful planet showers you with gifts. Clouds rain fresh water to quench your thirst. Your lungs swell with oxygen that plants create. And can you see how that creature is like bigger than the children, and yet the fox is the same size? So that's the poetry part. And the truth is in the words, and also a little bit in the poetry part, right? Because poetry is the best way to express big ideas in a very direct and real way. Okay, so earthworms, ground beetles, and ants plow the soil where your vegetables grow. Nature touches every bite you eat. You gobble fruits from plants, pollinated by bats in the twilight and bees in the day. So look at that lovely illustration and all that truth. And let me just hold it on the beetle for one of our tracks friends who just is really interested in the ground beetle situation. Ocean algae thicken the ice cream you lick. You devour fish who ate tiny plankton, fertilized by poop from whales in the sea. I mean, that kid has rain boots on. Do they all? No, they don't. When danger lurks, help comes in wild ways. Mangrove roots hold tight to slippery mudslides. Poplar trees drink up floods. Forest of undersea kelp calm ferocious waves. All of that is true. So, you know how sometimes they say that Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers when there's trouble? It's like the earth has its own helpers, right? And we are part of the earth. You are protected by a generous world of green. Branches stretch across streets, creating peaceful neighborhoods. Mother trees entwine their roots, raising vast shady forests that keep you and the planet cool. Now, not all of us are in places like this. When I was born, we had green, but it wasn't the same kind of green. There was mostly desert, but there was green. It was just a different kind of green. You always have company. Armies of microorganisms snuggle against your skin, keeping germs at bay. Your face is a home to wee little cleaning mites who evolved from mites that lived on the faces of your relatives. So cool. Can you see all the DNA strands? Nice. You grow strong with the help of bacteria that digest the food in your tummy. They were passed down from your mother when you were born. Thank you. Oh, and I always said, it's like it should say birth mother right there, right? Okay. If things break, remember, healing happens too. Corals rebuild strong reefs, just as your bones mend a fracture. Oh, yeah, but there's a little bit of trickiness because we destroy things faster than it can heal. Aloe vera soothes your itchy skin. Ginger settles your upset tummy. Wallowing in the mud makes you stronger thanks to a surge of feel good chemicals triggered by bacteria in the soil. So, playing in mud and soil is going to make you feel better. You thrive through connections to the land and the sea. Whales rise and dive, splashing phytoplankton to the surface where the sun powers their growth. Krill gobble these ocean plants and become food for salmon. And I love this illustration right here because it's a collage bit, and that's a piece of paper, like that's from specially made paper. We have some here. Bears drag spawned salmon onto the shore, spreading fishy nutrients that help massive trees grow. Forests maintain the Earth's climate. More whales means more plants and fish and bears, and a healthier you. And look, to ride a wolf. I mean, those salmon are gorgeous. There's the whale is coming up out of the water. You turn to pets for support just as they count on you. Gaze into your dog's eyes and you both feel a rush of love, and thinking about your cat soothes lonely times. So thinking about things that need love create more love. So if you think about the love that you can give, and you get the love that you need. You sense these wild connections. Sunshine fills you with hope. Your imagination smiles when you climb a tree. That's the front picture, isn't it? You're never alone. You are never alone. Feel gravity hug you tight as you twirl around the sun. Every year on the earth, you circle the sun. Can you see it? Soyeon Kim made us this illustration that makes us look like we're circling the sun and its stars. Oh, the sun is our star. And a note from the author, because I just need to read this to you. So, it says, one day while I was walking with my friend Corbin to his new home, which was farther away from his familiar neighborhood than he wished, he turned to me and said, "It's okay. It's still within the blast radius of love." Wherever you walk, you could take the love with you. He turned to me. Oh, I'm sorry. There was something about that phrase that perfectly captured the wonderful feeling of being part of a community that is always there for you, no matter what. I wrote this book because I want every kid to realize that warm, supportive community already exists for all of us. I want to look every kid in the eye and say, no matter what is happening in your life, you are never alone. Every plant on earth creates a bounty of oxygen to fill your lungs. This big, beautiful planet is alive, generously creating water, food, air, tree, rainbows, and countless other gifts. And we give back. She says, it's like, well, let me just read the whole thing that she said, and I'll tell you what I think. Too often, in our well-intentioned efforts to raise awareness of environmental problems, we leave kids with the idea that the earth is wrecked and it is up to them to fix it. Environmental issues are real, she tells us, and many of them are urgent. But all that gloom and doom simply leaves kids feeling worried and hopeless, and it ignores the extraordinary power and resilience of ecosystems all over the planet. I was just reading a book about this. Okay. And all the examples in this book are supported by current science. If you live on a tree-lined street, for example, you'll experience health benefits equal to being 7 years younger. When you play in the mud, you ingest tiny bacteria from the soil that help you learn things faster. This is science. Gazing into your dog's eyes triggers hormones in you and your dog that generate feelings of trust and goodwill toward others. So it's all your pets. I think the same thing happens probably when you gaze into the eyes of a cat. We'll have to research it to see if the same thing happens if you gaze into the eyes of hamsters. But what if you just gaze at a bird? Like, how does that change you? It's the same kind of release that creates the bond between mothers and their babies. Every time I think of all the plants and animals and earth systems that make it possible for me to lie back in the sunshine without a care in the world, I feel so grateful and lucky. I want to dance a jig. So when you finish reading, I hope you will put this book down, grab the hands of someone you love, and give a gigantic jump for joy as you twirl around the sun. Warm thoughts, Elin. To find out more about the science behind this book, be sure to visit www.owlkidsbooks.com. You are never alone. Let me put it close up. You see it? Oh, wait, let me hold it. That. Now, what this I was thinking about, it's like the planet is alive and then it helps us live, and if we can become stronger and more imaginative and better people, we will give back to the earth and keep it safe so it can keep keeping us safe. So that's, I think there's a little bit of that too, of the community that loves you and the community you love back. Thank you.